Previously heard. Good Hope FM. Let's go.
I'm telling you, we're doing it big, and when we do it big, we have to do it the right way. This is his intro.
They done let me out. They done called my name. They done read the 4 chapters. Now I'm back. Brick 6. I've been born again. Master, hit the switch. Igor, he's alive.
Good Hope FM.
Good Hope FM, Cape Town's original.
Indeed, like I said, we're celebrating Cape Town originals. And it's so tough to do an intro because that's the whole interview at the end of the day.
Just read the email. Read the email, like the first 2 sentences, and then whatever they said. I'll go with whatever they said. What did they tell you?
A giant in South African entertainment, a giant in South African comedy, a giant in every single Cape Townian's heart.
Thank you. Wow.
Marc Lottering, welcome to The Great Drive.
Thank you, man. Good to be here.
We're celebrating a brand new look, as you can see.
I know. And I saw online this morning people were having so many discussions about your brand new look.
We're having a brand new look, and we're celebrating our milestone, 58 years as Good Hope FM. We are standing at the top and saying we are Cape Town's original.
Gosh, 58.
58.
Woo. Close to Uncle Mark. It's very close to that. You should just call this the Sasa slot for now. Here we are with the Sasa slot, and today we're chatting with.
So, Marc, I want to go back into time because
this makes sense because I remember Dimitri Jagels and all these people. Yeah. Okay.
And I want you to take us back for a second, right?
Yeah.
Some of your memories in the last 58 years.
Okay.
Some moments with Good Hope FM where you were like, only Good Hope FM can do this.
Well, I grew up in Retreat.
Yes.
On the Cape Flats, and at that time the thing that was happening in our lives was, well, when I knew it, and I'm sure it was late primary school or if it was early high school, but it was 2:30 date with Dimitri Jagels.
Wow.
I remember that. I remember phrases like push up production.
Okay.
It was like big, and I think the radio was played in many factory outlets, and so the popularity was huge.
Yes.
When I was growing up, so the identification was always really strong.
Absolutely.
With Good Hope.
Absolutely. And let's talk about Cape Town's originality, because I think something that a lot of people don't understand about this beautiful city is that the level of creativity, the level of authenticity, and the level of originality starts here, then it spreads north. Would you agree with that?
That's
a good one, huh?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Where I come from, I remember when I was growing up, so the word originality is very interesting because what I do know, for example, if you're talking about singing, like if you're watching these national singing competitions happening in the country, one would always watch with interest because as far as singing goes, the talent for me from the Western Cape is always unmatched. And it's become a controversial issue.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's a controversial issue because then you're looking at how are people singing, and this is what I know. This is why the word originality is interesting. What I know about growing up in Cape Town, we were always able to. We could be anybody who was on the chart. So people would say, Athlone's very own Frank Sinatra.
Yes.
Lansdowne's very own Mariah. It's that vibe that I was growing up with. So people could sing really well, but as far as the opportunity went to express yourself in a really original way, I think I can only speak for my generation, but the journey to writing your own play, to writing your own music, to writing your own songs, that has been quite a journey, and it still continues to be a very interesting one. And while I always recognize the talent in the Western Cape, I'm extremely passionate about people veering away from imitating. And just because I've seen people really, really flourish when they can be themselves, when they are expressing themselves in their own accents, and when it comes to music, writing their own music. And I'm in the business of write your own story, write your own play, and every time the feedback that we get when you do something original and you're standing on stage, whether you're telling your own story or singing your own song or performing in your own play. People from across the world, we experience this over the festive season.
Wow.
They sit there and they get very annoyed because South Africans have this habit of leaning over to people and going, "Oh, shame, you probably don't understand." People are like, "If you can just keep quiet for a second and let me watch this, I actually do understand." And the world appreciates that. Yes. So we have to move away. And I understand where it comes from. I know when I was growing up, we wanted to be everything that was happening in New York. We wanted to dress like people who were going to school in the States, because they're like, that was the thing. We had to be like that. We had to sound like that. But we have so much more to offer when we are sitting in our own skins. And that kind of originality I want to continue to embrace and support. So I think the reason you and I are chatting today is because I've been on a journey where I pushed to that, and I didn't suddenly open my eyes and think that's how I want to be. I was encouraged to do that. One of my first directors, was David Kramer, and I remember David Kramer telling me, "Jy praat soos jy praat, man. Jy Carrara ran." So, because that's the way I first walked onto stage. I thought I had to speak correctly. And the interesting thing is when I do my shows, people stop me while the shows are happening and they say, this is in the supermarket. I so much want to come to your show, and I've got friends who want to come to your show. But we're so worried because we speak English.
Oh, wow.
But then the other night I go to Maynardville where I go and watch a Shakespeare because, I'm like that as well. And there they are, thou goest, woest, goest, truest, woest, goest. Nobody's got a problem. I'm like, I'm sure you're not sitting in your bedroom now shouting to your husband, "I cometh now." No, it's just... But you're happy to do it at Maynardville. So we are able to go into different directions, explore different avenues.
Oh, wow.
And you're able to, except somehow a barrier goes up just because I was born in Retreat and I speak the way I speak. So suddenly you're worried whether you can actually bring the office because you all speak English. I speak English, bloody hell.
We got Marc Lottering in the building, ready on the Great Drive. It's Good Up FM, Cape Town's original. We're crowning him a Cape Town original. If you have any questions, 071-286-0639. If you haven't checked out the new look, go on to our website, goodupfm.co.za. And trust me, you don't want to miss it there.
Good Hope FM.
Cape Town's original.
Cape Town's original.
All right, we do have Marc Lottering here. So, Marc, let's talk about Cape Town comedy because there's...
Yes.
I don't know what's been going on.
So people are watching us online now as well.
Yeah, they're watching
us.
us.
Okay, so I'm going to put shades on because when Jimmy Nevis was here, he had shades on and then he looked very cool.
Where are my shades?
So, for the segment, yeah.
I want to put some shades on too.
Yeah, I might not even look at you.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. Are you looking at me now? Are you looking at the camera?
I'm looking at you, man. It's always been you.
So, let's talk about comedy in Cape Town. There's been a burst of comedians.
Yes.
Like everyone. I don't know if it's an Instagram or a TikTok thing, but how do you feel about the state of the industry currently, specifically to Cape Town?
I'm encouraged by the state of the industry because it's suddenly become, not suddenly, but for, over the last few years, I would say over the last 6 years, people have been taking comedy very seriously as an option. So this morning I was on my morning trot because I'm sure you could feel that I ran when I walked in. I could see the way you looked at me. You were like, "Wow, you look so good." This doesn't just happen naturally.
You look good. You look good.
It doesn't just happen naturally. So I was on my morning trot, and this guy stops his car. Right, this is here on the Atlantic seaboard. He stops his car, and I had a feeling in my stomach. First he drove past and then he hooted, and I knew by the sound of the hooter he was going to do something ridiculous and turn his car around. And because some cars you can hear on the hooter, like it's it's a second-hand car, and then he.
Why are you doing the guy? Why are you doing the
I could hear on the hooter because so he turns around, pulls over, blocks traffic, and then pulls onto the pavement. Cars behind him are hooting. Then he gets out and he says, "Hey man, I'm this happened." And if he's listening, he'll bear me out. "Hey man, I'm a comedian,
right.
and I want to know where do I go because I want to hone my craft." And I thought, well, because comedy is about timing.
Okay.
Now his timing was out by hooting like that, then blocking
Number
traffic.
Number one.
So I was worried, and then I could tell him, I know in Cape Town people go to armchair theatre in OBS, but I'm using that guy as an example to tell you this is people are seeing stand-up comedy as a strong possibility, and once again it comes back to the original theme that you spoke about earlier, because once the message is out there and you've placed it in people's hearts that you are able to talk about yourself and your own experiences, and you are able to do it on a stage, and it will be appreciated and celebrated. With stand-up comedy, that's a magic spark, that's a big thing. So the state of comedy in South Africa, I think it's really great. There's always this thing between Joburg and Cape Town.
Talk to me about it.
So I find that the industry in Joburg, I just have a sense that there's more opportunity.
Okay. So when you say opportunity, are you saying there's more work opportunities?
Venues.
Yeah, more venues. Okay?
Venues, more opportunities, more venues. And it just seems like the whole brand of stand-up comedy there seems to be sexier and just more happening. I feel in Cape Town, the comedians here have to wait for something to happen. You've got to wait to see, what festival is happening, and you're never going to get onto a stage just like that, onto a main festival. So the journey to get there, you've got to look around which comedy clubs and it happens, and then it stops happening for very many months, and then again you see it starts building up again. We had the Mother City Comedy Festival happening in Cape Town recently. As well. So I think these things don't happen often enough for the budding comedians in Cape Town. Yes. I speak under correction, but I feel that in Joburg, the opportunities somehow are more in Joburg. Now, this is the interesting thing, because I spoke about people having to wait, and I know that you've got to go to music, otherwise you don't get your EFT with your salary, but just bear me out here. I can see already you're going like, wrap it up, dude. So, so wait. So, what I want to say, when I started, remember it was, the time of David Cow starting.
Yes. I had that show. What is it?
He was Pure Monati. Was
Pure
Monati. Yeah.
Yes.
People keep thinking I was on that show, so they come up to me in the streets and they hug me and they say, "Great work." I wasn't in the show, but I take the hug and I do the selfie.
Okay.
So, but when we started, we didn't have comedy clubs, and we had to write our own material for 60 minutes. We were just being told, "Come, we're booking a venue." A person would say, "I'm the producer, we're booking this venue, you've got something to offer, get onto that stage." And so I come from the school of writing 60 minutes, where the real thing is you're meant to be told 3 minutes, or 7 minutes. That's what you actually...
minutes?
So 60. So to work your way back from that, suddenly when things started happening with the stand-up industry in the country after our generation, we were like, we were kind of glad that we got pushed in the deep end.
Yeah.
Because your body, it's now in my body, and I'm built that way.
Yeah.
So that's just the way I approach shows. And yes, it's every time I've got to do a new show, you still fart silently and you still think I'm going to be caught out, because people are going to actually establish now that I'm not funny. But but you've got to approach that happens to me all the time. But still, because I come from that generation where we had to go on stage and stand there for 60 minutes alone, I think it makes it easier for us.
You trained. You went to work. You had to train.
Absolutely. I was in the ring.
So this is the moment on the show where I crown you. I give you an imaginary crown. It's on your head right now.
Oh, wow.
as a Cape Town original, sir.
So the budget was small. There's no real crown. Yo,
Jason, get him the real crown, okay?
give me. I mean,
We're going to send it to you. We're going to give you a real crown, Mark. Okay?
now, Mark, if you will imagine. Okay, cool.
Sir, thank
Okay,
you so
I'm
much.
holding it on my head. Thank you for inviting me. I'm so happy to have met you.
It's a pleasure to have
Yeah, it's
you.
great to chat to you. It's when you do these things, and sometimes it's not easy to talk to people. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. That's so cool. Yo, we're keeping that recording, okay? We're keeping that for good. We can take the shades off now, both of us.
Oh wow, do they have enough footage? Yeah, okay.
All right.
Oh, my crown. Shit. My crown. Okay, wait. I don't want to.
I got to go to my headlines right about now. Mark Lottering, everybody.
Good Hope FM.
Good Hope FM.